It is so hard to not get stuck in this trap of just consuming more and more content, learning more and more about this subject that you want to get into. It's easier, but at the end of the year, you get to New Year's Eve and you're like, you set the same goal as last year. And if you're 20 years old, you've been setting that goal for 2 years. If you're 30 years old, you've been setting that goal for 12 years. If you're 100 years old, you've been setting that goal for like 82 years. We want to avoid this as much as possible. We don't want to get stuck in this knowledge trap of just consuming more and more content. Content is good. It is a gift that you get to go on YouTube and explore thousands and millions of videos talking about thousands and millions of things is incredible. But with great power comes great responsibility. And with YouTube, it has not been regulated yet to the point of, it just hasn't been regulated. It has not been regulated. So we are allowed to go on there and just consume, never actually get productivity out there. We are actually consuming or allowing ourselves to consume most of our lives with this very addictive drug that we call YouTube, or that we call TikTok, or that we call Instagram. We justify this to ourselves a lot of the time by saying, well, it's productive. I'm going on there to learn how to draw. I'm going on there to learn how to do business. I'm going on there to do ABC, right? We've all done this. We've gone on there and we're like, we're gonna learn. After you've gone on there and watched a 5-hour webinar and taken no notes, the chances of you remembering any of that webinar are nothing. Like, you'll almost remember nothing. And you've wasted a lot of your time as well. So we want to avoid this. I think that that's pretty clear, right? We would rather not get stuck in this knowledge trap. We'd rather be doers. My big problem when I started up this stuff, when I started YouTube, when I'm currently starting my business, my biggest problem here was never doing, because I set the barrier to entry so high. Let me give you an example. Everyone's heard about SMMA. You need to get into it, whatever. That is super awesome, cool. All right, I'm like years old, let's do it. Let's start this SMMA. Well, then I go online and then I figure out, oh, I need a credit card. I can't pay with my debit. Okay, well, then I'd have to talk to my dad. Bang, too big. I'm not talking to my dad about it. Therefore, out the door. And I just stopped doing it. But I didn't stop consuming. You've got to understand that I kept consuming this content. Then, a couple years later, I just kept going through this, right? Thing after thing. I'd keep finding something, researching it. Stock trading, right? Everyone's heard about that. Everyone's heard about Bitcoin. You research the next thing, you research the next thing. But never actually take action. So if you want to take action, here's what you need to do. If you want to start a business, now this applies to anything, don't just limit it off because it's business, but I'm just going to use business as an example. What I actually did today, a step of action, is I want to have a plan that when I go to my dad, or when I go to someone, an investor, when I go to them and I want to show them my business idea, I want to have a clear framework. This is how I'm going to make money. This is how much I have to pay. This is the upfront cost. What you do is you get on spreadsheets. Google Spreadsheets, Excel sucks. You get on Google Spreadsheets and you just start typing out everything you need to buy. Everything for this business that you want to start. I actually learned this the other day. I was just cold calling people and asking them, like, what's one piece of life advice? Recommend it to any of you out there. Well, I actually was cold DMing and then picking up their phone and calling them after they responded. But called him up and what's your biggest piece of life advice? And he's like, get everything on spreadsheets. And after thinking about that, I'm like, yeah, it's life. I'm already starting to adopt that a bit. I have a daily tracker. I'm starting to track my finances in like a budget. And then it only makes sense that you track your goals in a spreadsheet as well. Am I achieving them? Am I getting closer? Because if you want to achieve something, you have to know what that is that you are achieving. It's a clear, logical fallacy. If you just are like, yes, I'll become a millionaire, but I don't know how and I'm not going to learn how. Or I want to become a millionaire and I'll learn how, but I'm not actually going to do. You can't. It's like you have to have input and output in order to create something. You can't just have input, and if you have just output without knowledge, that won't work very well either. So if if you want to start this, just get everything on a spreadsheet. Start doing stuff like that, like in physical, tangible form, where you can look at it, where you can analyze it, where you can be like, oh yeah, I need to work towards this. If you have everything in your life on spreadsheets, everything is an exaggeration, but not by much. If you have it on spreadsheets, it will be super freeing for you actually. I have RC crawlers over here. When I first started out, I didn't know what I was doing. I was like, okay, RC crawlers. After a while, the expenses start to rack up, and after you're not tracking it, you're like, oh my goodness, that's quite a bit of money. So if you're on a spreadsheet, tracking that with a budget, it's very nice. If you're on a spreadsheet and you can see what parts you have, that is very nice. If you're on a spreadsheet seeing everything that you bought for another hobby, airsoft, it's easier to track what you have instead of going into the shed and digging through it all. So for spreadsheets, they are freeing. And me, myself, I am not really a spreadsheet guy. I don't build them. I'm not great at them. ChatGPT can help you a lot with that. Give you some ideas. But don't overcomplicate it. Don't go big in. That's the other thing I do. In order to justify it to myself, a lot of the time I would just do something way over the top that didn't need to be done. Like a spreadsheet. I'd spend like days building one, and I'm like, I didn't need to spend 4 days building a spreadsheet. I'm gonna put this in. Yeah, I'd like spend like days building this spreadsheet that I didn't really need, just because I was like off, and I made the barrier to entry too high. But you've got to understand, I made the barrier to entry so high that in order for me to get in, I basically had to have $1 million, the best group of friends in the world, and like sponsor kicking me in the butt almost. Yeah, and trainer. I need to have all this, but I raised my barrier to entry. I made it achievable, and that is a very valuable piece of advice. Make it achievable. Make it so that you can accomplish this goal. Alright, thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, please like, comment, and subscribe. That's all for this video. Thanks, goodbye.